was way too much.
Was it?
God, we were synced up though. Pound that.
Was
that
it?
No, it's never too much. You don't want to know why? Because today's a rock and roll episode.
It's an exciting day.
Today's a rock and roll episode, so we had to be fired up out of the gates. And that was hot.
That was hot.
That was a hot take.
Well, all I needed to do was be informed who the guest was, and I was on fire.
Yeah, me too.
It's Riggle's Picks. We didn't even say it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody, this is Rob Riggle. We're at Riggle's Picks. With me, as always,
Darren Leader.
Thank you. And by the way, let's not sit on it. Let's let the people know right away.
Okay.
Y'all, Mike Reno, lead singer of Loverboy, is going to be joining us on the podcast today.
Dude, turn me loose.
Oh, my God. Working for the weekend.
Come on, bro.
All of these.
Like, seriously, life soundtrack songs.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I know. Life soundtrack. Like, this is my youth, man. This is my youth.
Yes.
Come on.
Oh, I should have worn a bandana. We should have worn bandana.
Oh, what were we thinking?
We're not. You know what, Gary? I blame you.
I blame Gary.
Things are generally my fault.
Yeah, no shit. This is a big mistake. We should all have headbands.
It's too late. It's too late. We're in too deep.
When we talk to him, don't mention too much about it.
I won't.
That we don't have them.
No. Do you think he'll notice?
He might. He might.
Do you think he'll have one? I hope he does.
I mean, please let that happen.
Please, bandana Jesus, send the vibes to Mike.
Send him the bandana he needs.
Send him the information to process, the wherewithal to wear the bandana during the interview with Rob and Darren on Riggle's Picks.
I'll be honest. I don't know how, but I hope we do talk about the bandana. But I just don't want to give away the fact that we don't have them.
No, I know.
But I do want to talk about the bandana.
You want to shine the light, but you don't want to shine it on yourself.
Thank you.
I get it. I'm super excited.
I'm a little giddy.
Yeah.
I'm a little giddy.
There are guests on this show. Some of them I've never met or really even know much about. I'll be totally honest with you. A couple of them.
Yeah.
But when we get music guys, I'm just like, oh yeah.
I mean, and especially, I don't know, for me, like we were talking about, this is the soundtrack of our youth and our coming of age. This was the soundtrack. It's just, I mean, you could go down the list of those great 80s bands, right?
Yeah.
Journey, AC/DC, some are heavier than others, but rock and roll was rock and roll, and some just have killer hits. And Loverboy put out a bunch of killer hits.
They were arguably the biggest Canadian band at the time, when they were at their apex.
Yeah, you could argue that. Where was Rush at that point though? Rush, they were big late 70s.
You know what? I'll tell you what.
What am I saying? And of course, the 80s, I rocked out
the
Rush.
They were popular in the 70s and 80s, but I don't think they got really, really popular until not too long ago.
No, what are you talking about? The Moving Pictures was legendary.
Obviously, it's legendary. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying their popularity seemed to have only grown. I mean, maybe in the 90s, they kind of stopped.
There was the movie. It was the movie I Love You Man. Right?
Yeah, that was a huge resurgence.
Where they were,
bass, slapping the bass.
But they were Paul Rudd and
Jason Segel.
Yeah, Jason Segel were broing out hard with their love of Rush, and I think it reintroduced Rush to a new generation.
Yeah,
and that's why they had this resurgence.
But
they've always been a headline heavy metal rock legend.
Yes, and did you see the documentary, the Rush documentary?
I think I did.
It was amazing. The footage they had when they were teenagers at the dinner table saying, "I'm not going to college."
Yes, that's what I did. I did see that.
Yeah.
At the dinner table, that's what reminded me, because I was like, did I see it? Yes, I did, because I remember the dinner table conversation.
Yeah, he's like, got the pimples. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to college. I'm just going to play in a band. His Polish parents are like, no. What are you, crazy? He's like, sorry. Yeah. And look at me now, Ma.
Yeah.
But, I wonder, because Loverboy's been together for a long time, and I wonder how much home footage they have that they could put together a documentary. I bet they could.
They should.
They should.
Because because I think they it's not like they met at university or anything. They were working kids.
Oh yeah.
Graduate high school and went straight into it, chasing their dream. And living that life of living in a van type.
Think of how many bands come and go, right? Think of how many bands are formed and they never do anything, and then think about the bands that had a hit and then they died, or had a couple of records and died. Loverboy's been playing, putting records out, touring
For 40 years, 40 plus.
still.
Yeah.
Like they're still doing it, and that's cool.
That's legendary. That's how you get to an iconic level. That's how you get to that status.
Yeah.
Where you get to be mentioned in the Legion of Great.
You want to know what's really crazy?
Yeah. Yes.
The power of flight. Let's just think about that for a sec.
Gary?
Flight's powerful.
No, I mean, I think Darren's checked out. I think he hit his head or something's wrong with him.
If you think about that for a
He just went into crazy mode.
Yeah, I really don't know what that left turn was.
Okay.
I know what it was. It brings me back to the Beatles. Think about this.
Okay.
The Beatles are considered,
One of the best bands, if not the best, arguably.
together for 7 years. And because we're talking about Loverboy,
That doesn't
7
seem
years.
right. No, because remember they were doing shows in Hamburg in like 58.
I think they put their first when they put their first record out, not when they were playing like cover bands. I think when they put their first record out to the time they put their last record out, I think was 7 years of releasing records.
So what would that be? 62 to 69 or 63 to 70?
I don't know. We gotta
They broke up in 70,
we
didn't
gotta
they?
request information from.
They broke up.
Gare.
I think they broke up in 70. So and they hit America in 63 or 64.
7 years, dude. But I mean, like Loverboy, longevity, career.
But
And
don't forget now, they were before. I'd take it up to because they were playing together like in 57 in Hamburg and stuff. Now, granted, it might have been all cover tunes.
it was the
But
cavern.
it's still band time.
It
It's
is.
still band time.
But I'm saying on the global.
But even at that, even if they were 10 years together,
10.
okay,
That's crazy.
that's just a popcorn fart because their music's been rocking and still pleasing, still played on the radio today.
Yeah,
60 some years later.
it's crazy. Gary, do you have a number?
It looks like they broke up sometime in the early 70s. I'm still.
I think it was 1970.
It might be. This is their Wikipedia is the longest Wikipedia I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
sure, I'm
that's
sure.
the
Read
Beatles.
through it.
Anyway, I guess I'm just noticing the contrast. The Beatles are, an anomaly.
Any band that has longevity, I tip my hat to.
Oh yeah,
Because, and you know better than anybody because you were a rock and roller and you've been in bands and you know as well as anybody that the dynamics and the egos and the desires and the vision and the musician and just all of that. Put that on top of, and he's got a terrible wife or a terrible girlfriend or a terrible relationship or he's battling other demons or she's battling other demons or whatever the mixture is.
it's like being married, but to 3 to 5 other middle-aged dudes with egos. Who, if you don't know how to communicate, you are effed.
Oh yeah, and then like I think of Fleetwood Mac, right? Fleetwood, you put men and women in the mix together.
That's a wacky. We're here. No, we're gonna switch.
Yeah, we're gonna here, then we're here,
What?
then we're here.
But the whole time we're gonna be in a band.
Yeah, and we're gonna put out unbelievably amazing music.
Yeah.
Right, and our tortured souls are gonna produce this music. We're gonna look at each other on the road while we sing these songs about I'll fucking kill you and I'll kill you back. And
I
mean, that was some tortured souls.
I'll never forget. I was in high school, and there was a girl. I don't remember her name, but I do remember. She made a mix cassette for me, and the first song
That was the hottest gift in the 80s.
It was
A mixtape meant you're really special.
Well, I felt special. Leather and Lace by Fleetwood Mac was the first song on it.
Was that now? I thought that was a Stevie Nicks solo.
I don't know. Maybe it was.
I thought that
We're gonna have to go to the phones for this.
we might
Which
have
one?
Stevie Nicks or
Leather and Lace.
Leather and Lace. Is it Stevie Nicks or was it Fleetwood? Or was it Stevie Nicks doing a duet with someone else?
You thinking of Tom Petty?
No. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
It says by Don Henley and Stevie Nicks.
Don Henley and Stevie Nicks.
Thank you.
Leather and Lace.
Come on.
Well played.
Thanks, man.
Either way, that shit was first on that cassette, and I was like, oh, she wants to get weird. That was my takeaway.
That was what you took.
In
I
high
thought it
school.
was just a love song.
In high school, I'm like, oh, Leather and Lace? Oh, this is going to get awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I have problems, Rob.
No, you don't. It's you're a boy.
I am a boy.
You were a boy at that time.
Yeah, I was a boy.
Yeah. And
A boy with man's dreams.
Boys hear things.
I know.
You know, hey, how's it going today? Really?
Yes, I'd love to get naked.
Yes,
with
I'd
you.
love to get absolutely naked. That's not what I said.
No. I'm cool with it. What time do you want to meet up? No, I said, how are you? Yeah, we hear things.
Yeah.
I think we
So
still...
you got a mixtape, Leather and Lace. It makes you thought it was a green light?
Duh.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, you're in high school and you get Leather and Lace.
Oh, my gosh.
I wonder what high school mixtape Mike Reno got.
God, Beatles stuff. It had to be Beatles.
Yeah.
Because he was coming on the scene back in the mid to late 70s.
What song do you think...
So, I mean, he was high schooling in the mid 70s.
right,
is
so
my guess.
the Beatles are pretty fresh.
Yeah. It was fresh enough.
What song do you think he would have gotten from a girl in high school? First song on a cassette.
Canadian?
No,
want a Canadian. No, I'm just saying he's a Canadian.
he's a Canadian.
And she's a Canadian?
She's a Canadian, but she
Okay,
was
well, that's
born
all I
in
need
Belgium.
to know. That's all. It would have been I Want
And
to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles.
Okay.
Because the Canadians roll soft.
Yeah, they do. Claire,
You guys are soft serve ice cream.
Sure.
you guys are all sensitive, right?
Sure.
But they're not sensitive. They're fighters.
Well, they are. They love. I can't get a read.
That's a hard one.
They're the politest. That's not a word.
They are the politest.
They are. They are incredibly polite. They are incredibly kind.
Yes.
They're generally super friendly.
And they love to fight,
But then you put the beer,
dude.
and the Canadians like to throw.
But they'll have a beer after.
Yeah, but then they're quick to make up too.
It's so
I
weird.
kind of dig it.
They kind of get it out and done.
I respect that. It's better than the passive aggressive shit.
Here in California, you're like, you honk at somebody and you're getting shot at.
Yeah, it's gunplay. It goes
Yeah.
instantly to gunplay.
Totally.
There's no progression.
There's no ramping up.
Yeah.
It's just, we are here.
Right, and then when like the Canadian gets to the top of the ladder, it's a fist fight.
Yeah.
Okay, when the Californian gets to the top of the ladder, it's gunplay.
Absolutely. It's a casket
Yeah.
for sure. Do you think Mike Reno is going to say apologize to us at any point during the interview?
I mean, he's Canadian.
He should be apologizing, right?
Only just because I think it's part of the, again, I'm not from there, so I can't throw any shade. Claire, is it common practice to say, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry."
Yeah, it's kind of like a colloquial.
Yeah.
Same thing as saying "How are you" in the same sentence.
I don't even know a colloquial.
A colloquialism.
A casual "Hey."
Hey,
Same
how
thing
are
as
ya?
saying,
It's
sorry.
A phrase or a
What's going on?
saying that is pertinent to that particular region.
Colloquialism.
It's close enough.
Do you guys want to guess what my favorite Loverboy song is?
It's
I'll
not-
give you a hint though. You probably won't be able to guess it.
That's
Oh, well.
Oh, Claire, I'll tell you what. You guys want to guess my favorite experience when I was 9 years old?
What color am I thinking of right now?
Blue.
Nailed it.
Damn it.
What is your favorite Loverboy song?
Jump.
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 Wow. I love when Van Halen did that one.
That's not the same. Not the same.
When I say jump, you better jump. When I say walk, you better get ready to say goodbye. Do you not know that one?
Did you not know that?
I don't know, but I'm captivated by your voice.
Okay, we'll just cut that out and we'll say working for the weekend.
Even
No,
it's
no,
nice.
it's jump. It's jump.
That's cool.
You're going to make people go do the research, which I appreciate that. Go do the work. Go do the
You know
work.
what? It's a beer fight song.
Okay.
Okay.
God, he's so good.
He's so good.
But if they catch us here together this way, you know we better think quick. 'Cause you bet your last buck they'll be first to get the last lick. When I say jump, you better jump, jump. When I say walk, you better get ready to say goodbye.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
Claire.
That's Canadian edge
Yeah.
right there.
That's awesome, man.
That's good.
Let's get into it. Let's bring Mike out.
You want to? Is it time? Gary, fire up Mr. Reno. Mr. Reno. So you
Sorry,
get to know
Mr.
him
Reno.
better.
Let's do it.
Bring it.
This is awesome. It's happening. Loverboy, right here.
Okay, Mike Reno, lead singer, Loverboy.
This is actually happening, Darren.
I can't believe this. I got to say, it's very nice to see you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes. Very grateful. And I've seen you in concert. So I'm very excited to talk about that, but I'm going to let Darren, he's chomping at the bit over here.
I just want to tell you that your voice is part of the soundtrack of my life.
Yes,
and I noticed
mine too.
And it's crazy because you're doing your thing. Like you're at home, you're changing oil on your car, and you're going about
I love
your
that
business.
you change your own oil. I love that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And your voice is in my head for my whole life, basically. And I just wanted to say thank you. And the songs, legendary, obviously, as you know. I'm going to stop fawning, and I want to just ask you, how are you, sir?
Yeah, let's start there. Oh, look at that. That's
Amazing.
my favorite.
That's from Japan. Years ago, we toured Japan, and they make these things, these dolls, and they give them to you. And it's like my mom had this for years, and she gave it to me recently.
That outfit is legendary.
That's it.
That's the one.
That's right there. That's the one. I feel like I should put a headband on.
You know what? It would be amazing if you did. So you kind of pioneered the headband, shorter hair look. That was you. Was that a conscious decision going, I'm going to do this, or was it practical, like drip, get the sweat?
Well, you know what? We first started out, we played some Vancouver nightclubs, and the power lamps were 1,000-watt power lamps are about 3-4 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 3 songs, you're sweating. I couldn't even see out of my eyes anymore. So I go in the break. We used to do like 3 sets, right? And we do the same set 3 times because we had all these new songs we wanted to play. Anyways, so I go to a set, and then during the break, I cut the sleeves off my T-shirt, and I just put the sleeve of my T-shirt on my forehead.
Amazing.
And then I'd write the next set. I'd cut the other sleeve off, put that on just to keep the sweat out of my eyes, so I could see the audience. And that's just how it started. And then I started wearing like bandanas, and then it became a big deal. It wasn't a big deal for me. It was just basically, like you said, it was functional. I just wanted to keep the sweat out of my eyes.
But I love how it starts with, I'm going to take one sleeve off and just out of necessity because you're burning up. I love that.
Was that when you say Vancouver shows, is that stuff on Granville, like the Roxy?
Not really the Roxy. We played it before that. There's a place called the Body Shop, Club Soda. We used to play the rock bars, and most of them are gone now. But then we also used to pack up and go to Vancouver Island because nobody knew us there, and management would get us a gig over there. And I remember we were playing away, and the nightclub owner, he comes over to us. He says, "I thought you guys were top 40 band. I haven't heard anything I recognized." And we go, "That's because these are all new songs. We're trying out all our new songs." He says, "Well, I wanted a top 40 band." And I looked at him and I said, "We're going to be top 40. Just give it."
That's amazing.
So you start. I mean, your rock career started probably a little bit in the late 70s, early 80s?
79, 78.
Okay.
Paul and I got together and started writing songs.
Okay.
And then after we figured we had a bunch of songs, we moved to Vancouver to find a management. And everyone probably knows who Bruce Allen is. He handles Bryan Adams and Michael Bublé, and he handled BTO, and he handled us at the very beginning. And he's the one that got us on these huge tours, and he got us a record contract. And I don't know if we could have done it without him. It was one of those things that we're really glad we hooked up with him because he got us to the next place. Yeah.
Well, and he also saw something in you guys. He obviously has an eye for talent, so he saw something in you guys that he was like, I want to hook on to these guys.
Yeah, he wanted to hook onto us, and then after he hooked onto us, he said, "I'm never signing another band again. I'm only going with singles." So that's why he's got Bublé and Adams, because you get 5 guys all wanting different things, and harping to the manager about what they want, this, that. He said, "I'd had enough of bands." But anyways, after BTO, we were them. We were the next, like BTO were huge, and he managed them and got them all through the United States, Canada, and all over the world. And then he took us on as his next act, and that's really what got us going. Other than he saw something in the shirt.
Were you guys aligned in your career? Obviously, you guys had the main goal. Obviously, I imagine was to just be successful or keep write songs that people enjoyed and just keep climbing the ladder in rock and roll. Were you guys all sort of aligned on that, or was there any friction or different goals for you guys?
No, we didn't have different goals. What we did in the beginning is we had about 3 different styles. And if you listen to the first album, you'll hear that we were kind of touching on some new wave stuff, almost punk. Mm-hmm. And then there's some rock type anthem stuff. And then there's some reggae and some kind of fusion stuff. So we were kind of, on the first album, we put out stuff to see which would really take. And of course, the stuff that took was like Turn Me Loose and The Kid Is Hot Tonight. And they
the rock stuff.
Yeah, the rock stuff really. And that's when then the second album, we kind of featured more rock stuff. And then we had Working for the Weekend and Take Me to the Top and When It's Over. And, and these are all songs we play live. We just played the first couple of shows this year. One show just outside of Portland down on the ocean. They're called Lincoln City.
Wow.
We had a good turnout, full house, sold out. It was great. And the couple weeks before that, we were in Syracuse. And we hadn't played in a while. And you know what? After we played the first gig after having about 4 months off. And I swear it was one of the best gigs we ever had. We didn't make any mistakes. We played with, we were just right into the groove. It's
no rehearsal?
No rehearsals, man. We had a quick sound check just to make sure we could hear each other. And then we just pounded it out. And it was so neat. And it just reminded me of how great of a band Loverboy is. I mean, I'm not a musician in the band. I'm a singer.
Yeah.
And I get to sing with these guys and they play so fantastic. It was just a total trip.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you know Jay Dakeman?
I was just going to say, Jay wanted me to say hi to you.
Jay's a friend of mine. He's a drum tech extraordinaire, and he works with these guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he said nothing but really great things about you guys personally, and just it's nice to talk to somebody who's been so successful and like just a normal guy, Well,
one of the things too I want to ask you about is your band hit the scene and became a great rock band for a lot of reasons, the music, but you also kind of were coming up at the same time MTV was exploding, and so you were kind of on the cutting edge of that as well. Can you tell us, how was that experience?
Well, it's funny you should bring it up because, to be honest with you, we had no idea what was going on with that particular station, other than the fact that Columbia Records called us and says, "We know you're on tour, but can you go to Albany on your day off?" We got 3 days booked at the Shrine Auditorium in Albany, and we've set up a bunch of cameras. And what we want to do is shoot you playing live, and then we're going to turn it into a thing and send it into the station that's apparently playing 24-hour music shows. They didn't even know it was called videos. So
wow.
Just before they even called them videos. So we went and shot a whole bunch of live footage, and what they said they were going to do if they send the live footage in, they were going to interject it with a bunch of other stuff. You know how they turned it into like a little, and then it's called a video. So we turned in 3 songs the first week that MTV was running, and because of the fact that nobody else really sent anything in, they ran us 24 hours a day. We became super famous. I mean, you remember back in the day when you didn't recognize anybody in 10cc or any of those groups like that?
Right.
You don't know what they looked like. Well, after video came on, everybody knew everything about everybody. It was like you're like a movie star.
You must have gotten hounded at airports back then.
Hounded everywhere. We tried to stay out of airports, but we used to have trouble going down buying a USA Today, man. I mean, at the corner store. I mean, people what people would do? They'd hide in your bathroom, and they'd surprise you when you went to your room, or people would bring some food up on room service, and they'd be in the underneath where they usually put the warmers. And
Oh my God.
Scare the shit out of you. And that was how it was back then. And they would write on your shower curtain, "I love you, here's my phone number." And it was crazy. That MTV, actually, that's what MTV did. It turned us into
it changed the whole atmosphere. It changed the whole landscape of rock and roll. It really did. And the expectations of fans and obviously performers, I'm sure it had I don't want to say catastrophic. It had a powerful effect on their reach.
Mm-hmm. It changed the landscape. Obviously, when you guys were on it in the early days, you were in everyone's living room all day long who had that channel, and it was like
and they were playing the music.
Yeah,
it wasn't a lot of superfluous stuff. It was
music.
It was a VJ going into videos.
Yeah,
a VJ coming back and going just like a DJ on a radio station.
Yeah. It was totally changed. And there's a couple other things that were kind of before that, but it was just once in a while. It was like Saturday Night Live was around, and you play on Saturday Night Live. It was a big deal. We played there twice, and it was awesome. But the other one was some of the rock concert things they did, like Midnight Special and all that stuff. But that was like once a week.
Right.
MTV was like 24 hours a day, every day. And people started, instead of playing outside, they were like in front of the TV watching all their videos. I mean, it changed a lot for everybody, not just bands, but it changed America, really.
Yeah.
It probably
So-
changed the world.
Yeah.
When you were coming up and you were getting on bigger tours, and what's your most memorable band you ever opened for on a tour, and what's the most memorable band that has opened for you guys on a tour?
Oh yeah.
Well, let me just say this. When we first went out, I remember we went out it was a big tour we got, and it was with Kansas. And one of my favorite singers, Steve Walsh, the singer for Kansas, who was like #1 with me, Paul Rogers, and him, and very few other people really got me. Steve Perry got me. So we go around this tour with Kansas, and we were supposed to like play the show and then drive to the next town in these station wagons. It was really rough back then, and we had to take turns driving to the next town. But I wanted to watch the band, and I'm sitting there watching Steve Walsh bounce around on that keyboard, and he was so athletic, and he just sang at the top of his lungs. I just went, "Oh my God!" That was like one of the most memorable. And then we did the whole tour in 1982 with Journey, and it was when they had their Escape album out, and we had Get Lucky out, and we're both on the same record label.
Wow.
That would have been a dream concert. Sorry.
Steve Perry, getting Steve Perry, to me, he was like godlike. And once again, they said, do the show and move on. But that time, somebody had got the hint and realized that we're getting too burned out, so they got us a bus. So that was like our first tour bus type deal, and that really calmed us down a little bit. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about, and I just can't. I always remember. I can remember it like it was yesterday watching these bands, because Kansas were very good. They still are very good. But when they were like back then, it was like almost 40 years. Well, it's 40 years ago. They were amazing, and they were so good. And a lot of bands are good, but they're not that good. But them and Journey, and also ZZ Top. ZZ Top. Every night they just put it on, and you just went, these guys are so cool. It was so great. And I got to know Billy Gibbons and Dusty and all the guys, and I got some cool stories, but I don't want to bore you.
No,
Yeah,
please. Are you
we
kidding?
are-
This is amazing. And
For us right now, I'm sorry. We're just like, we're so happy. There's,
honestly,
You want to hear a ZZ Top story?
yeah.
sure.
Okay, our manager, Bruce Allen, he says, listen, I got you the tour with ZZ Top, but what I want you to do, I don't want you to go in there and get all friends and Canadian on these guys. I want you to play the show and get the hell out of the arena, right? So the first night we do the show, and at the end of the show in these arenas, hockey rinks, there's these big showers. They got like 15 shower nozzles. So we turn them all on, we put chairs in there, and we got the hot water on our backs, and we just finished doing a show for an hour, and the crowd went crazy. And the whole place is totally steamed up. You can barely see. And we're not supposed to talk to the guys at ZZ Top. We're not supposed to chum around with anybody, play the show and get out of town. So we're in the showers, and we're all sitting there talking about how great the show was. And all of a sudden, these three figures appear in the steam at the entrance to the shower. And there's three of them standing there, and you can't really see them. You can just see that there's three things standing there. And all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, "Who's the guy with the trash mouth?" And they all point at me, and they go, "It's Reno. He's the guy who's been swearing up there." And he goes, "Welcome to the tour, you guys." And they did the thing where they rolled their hands like this, and they pointed that way, and they were gone.
No.
I just had to pinch myself. I said, "Is this you?" Because we weren't even supposed to talk to these guys. Management said, "Stay away from these guys. They've been touring for years. They don't want to hear about you. They don't want to hear any of the
Right.
of you guys." They just said, "Play the show and get out of there." And the first night, these three guys come to our dressing room and do the whole ZZ Top.
I love that they did what they do on stage just for you, your own personal.
That's amazing.
No, that is like, that could be a movie. Really, it could be a movie.
That's so fun. I love that. By the way, when you said Escape and Get Lucky, could you imagine that?
No, they
so
don't-
mad. I missed. I was only 12.
They don't
I
make-
missed that tour, but
They don't make records like that anymore. They don't. I mean, it's disheartening, and I sound like an old guy.
no,
but
I
they don't.
just this weekend I took my son. My son's 15, and I took him to Amoeba down in Hollywood because it's all vinyls. So I and he wants to get in. He's getting into vinyl. So I'm like, oh, so I'm literally walking through and I'm showing him classics. Like, you got to have this in your collection. You got to have this. You got to have this. And now I'm sitting there going, escape and get lucky.
Oh,
I got to get those.
Legendary records.
Yeah.
Would do you? How often do you tour nowadays? And do you miss the old style of touring, or do you like the more? I mean, I imagine you guys do mostly weekendy stuff, like Nashville style.
Well, I wish it was that way, but actually we do about 25 shows Nashville style, where we fly in and play a couple shows here and there on the weekend.
Right.
And then for the last 3 years, well, I guess 2 years ago, we did a whole tour of the United States in a tour bus with Styx and REO Speedwagon and Loverboy. We played all the Live Nations outdoor 20,000 seat amphitheaters.
Oh my gosh.
So cool.
It was insane. So then last year we did the same thing in all the same amphitheaters with Foreigner, when Foreigner got some great songs, fantastic band. And then this year we're doing the same route, all the Live Nations outdoor amphitheaters with Sammy Hagar. We're just getting warmed up for it.
Oh my gosh. What a blast. What a great tour.
I will just say I'm jealous.
So I remember Mike, you guys came to Kansas City, 1985. The Hooters opened for you.
Oh, great band.
And I think it was Kansas City Municipal Auditorium, but I loved, that's the only time I got to see you live. And it was a killer show. Absolutely killer. You guys just put it all out there. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So thank you for that show.
Oh, you're welcome. And they were a great band to tour with. They, you know who, I got a really good story about. You asked me about what were some of the great bands we played with who warmed us up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did 3 tours in the United States, and we had Huey Lewis and the News was warm up for us.
Oh, wow.
Now, check this out. So the end of the last of the third tour, we're in a row, the season. I went down to Huey's to say goodbye to him, say hi to the guys, and say great job this year, and thanks for being on the road with us and blah, blah, blah. And Huey's kind of sitting there like he just lost his best friend. He's got his hands down here and he goes, Mike, I don't know if we can do this anymore. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, we can't sell a record to save our lives. He says, it's just not happening. I says, you guys are so good at just naturally good. Every song, every time you sing anything, it's fantastic. I said, you got to stick with it. And next year they put out Sports.
Oh, the very next year? Oh my gosh. And that's a legendary album. Legendary album.
They went from they couldn't sell records to 20 million records, Oh
my God.
And then they've just gone from there. Just, it's just insane. And it's very talented. That's probably the best band, whoever played with us. And we did 3 years in a row with them because they were so good.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
And then when you get advice from Mike Reno going, don't hang it up, bro.
And you know what? I'm not kidding. I bet hearing that from you, Mike, meant the world to him. You always need that little extra encouragement, especially when you're down, to have someone that you admire say, no. You're looking at it wrong. You got what it takes. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
Cool. I never thought about it that way, but I just had to tell him. I said, you guys are fantastic. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
So talented. And they play great live. I mean, they're very good.
You motivated him. And that's, you're the headliner and you're like, no, you guys are great. And it probably got in him and went, you know what? I thought we were good, but you know what? If Mike Reno says we're good, we're good. Yeah. And he kept going.
And one more day. One more day. Stay in it.
When you, hey, Mike, when you go tour, do you ever go overseas anymore?
We did for a while, but we haven't for a while. We played Mexico, a few times in the last 10 years. It just doesn't seem. We had a tour lined up for Australia, which I was really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID hit, and they canceled all the flights, and everybody had to stay home for 2 years, which was so strange. I mean, how strange was that, right? COVID.
Oh,
that was the worst.
That was crazy times.
Yeah, that was
crazy times.
I kind of was at the stage in my life, to be honest with you, where I went, staying home. I thought this is going to be terrible, and then I went, hey, this is pretty cool. I mean, this is. I got all this nice stuff. I finally get a chance to play with all this nice stuff. I got recording equipment. I got a nice sports car, nice house on the beach. God, I'm just loving it. So I turned out, and then we had to tour again. I went, we're touring again? I went, good news. You're out there with Styx and REO Speedwagon. And I went, okay.
And so are you ever planning on going to Australia? Because, I mean, I think
Yeah, you got to do that tour.
I just feel like people in Australia would be like, oh my God, they don't get a lot of bands that go to Australia because it's very expensive. I mean, but I think a band like you guys would just kill it over there.
Especially if you did a package tour.
Oh, I'd like to do a package tour. I was trying to think about who would package with this. I bet it would be cool to go over there with like Night Ranger or maybe they have a Rick Springfield or something. Somebody kind of who had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you, we never even went to Australia. And we had a gold album and a gold single. Turn Me Loose went gold over there. And we never ever went there. We didn't go there on the way to Japan. We didn't go there on the way back from Japan. And then America just got so busy in North America and Canada. And then we went to Europe. And, and then there you are. You're done for the year. And it just was another year we didn't go to Australia. And then we got one. And then COVID came.
I'm calling your agent. I'm going to say
Let's put this together.
Australia needs Loverboy.
Yes.
And New Zealand. I'd love to go to New Zealand, too.
Oh, yeah. It's Christchurch, Auckland, they're both amazing cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys would love it there. It's
so, let me do this. Let me put you on the spot for a second, Mike, because the Loverboy fans out there want me to. I'm going to advocate for them. What are your favorite songs in the Loverboy library?
When It's Over.
Yeah.
Take Me to the Top. All these singing songs.
Yeah.
I love Heaven in Your Eyes. Of course, Turn Me Loose and Work for the Weekend are big crowd pleasers, and they're fantastic. I could, and there's some other songs that I really like to sing. Have you ever heard? I don't know how deep you guys go into Loverboy, but have you ever heard the track For You?
I don't think I have.
No.
I want you to do me a favor and make a note of it.
Okay.
And then when you have a place where you got a nice stereo, it was on the Big Ones album, and it was we had a Big Ones was the greatest hits, but we threw in 3 or 4 new songs.
Okay.
And Bob Rock produced them, and I listened to it the other day, and I just started sweating. I went, "Oh my God!" I couldn't believe how great it was. And so, and you guys can get back to me on this one, but have a listen to that song. You tell me.
It's called For You.
Yeah, For You. I'd like to throw it in the set. To be honest with you, it's about 12
awesome.
minutes long, but it's good.
Do you guys have set list battles?
Not really.
No.
You know what it is? We've been playing for so long. You know what muscle memory is, right?
Yeah.
If we change the set around, I can't, my body just goes, I can't sing that one before that one.
All right.
You know what I mean? So we come on and we build it up and we go, and then we bring it down a little bit, and then we go, and it's gone. It's kind of a horse race. It really is. And we do it all the time. We change the set list around, and then we go, nah, it's not as good as the others.
Yeah. It's
and
funny.
We always agree, except one of the guys wanted to throw a song in the other day, and so we tried it at soundcheck, and everybody went, nah.
Do you warm up?
I never used to. Paul Dean used to tell people the way Mike warms up is he has a couple of beers and a cigarette. But, years ago I quit smoking, and, drinking before a show is really not a good idea.
Right.
So what I did recently is I started working with a vocal coach, which is kind of cool. I never used to think I would, but I met him in Dallas, and he says, listen, man, he says, I've been studying you. He says, one of the reasons I became a vocal coach was singers like you and the guy from Queensryche, and he had all these favorite singers. And so I started working with him, and he was telling me all these things to do. And then after about an hour, I went, Dave, all those things you've been telling me to do, I said, I've been doing those for years. And he goes, yeah, you probably have, but I just wanted to make it a little easier for you because there's easier ways to sing. And, it's kind of like, and then he played me this Pavarotti clip, and Pavarotti sings this. He says, Pavarotti goes, here's what a lot of people can do. And he goes, and he sings this note, and he holds it as long as he can. And then he does this other thing with his voice, and he just goes, and he holds it for like 3 minutes. And he goes, I can sing this lying down on the couch, having a smoke. This is Pavarotti talking, right? He goes, so there's different ways of singing.
Right.
And if you're playing every night and you're touring all the time and you're traveling in a tour bus and, it's night after night after night, he says, you got to learn a few little tricks. And so we've been teaching each other these little tricks just to keep your voice strong. And warming up is one of them I'm doing now. I'm doing warm-ups before the show. And I learned a pretty cool one where you just kind of pant like a dog for like about 10 minutes. Like you kind of look and sound like a weirdo. But what it does is it ignites your diaphragm, which is what controls all the vocals. Mm-hmm. The diaphragm is down below. It's kind of like the engine, and it pushes up, and then if you send it all in the right direction, which the vocal coaches taught me, you can send your voice in different directions just with the mouth placement and tongue placement. So I'm learning a lot even after all these years.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, I got rapid fire questions. My brain is going a million miles a minute.
I got so many follow-ons too. So you go.
Okay, so it's elementary school Mike Reno, middle school Mike Reno, high school Mike Reno. When do you realize you can sing better than everybody else in your neighborhood, in your area? And what age were you when you were in your first band that actually started to go gig?
Yeah, I like that.
15.
You realized 15, holy shit, I can do this.
I was in my brother's band. I was the drummer and sang in the background vocals. And he taught me all this stuff about singing background vocals. He was the lead singer. Mm-hmm. And I'm 13. I'm 13 at the time. I had a drum. They gave me a drum solo and everything. They couldn't even see me behind the tom-tom. And anyways, I used to get a round of applause just because they couldn't even see me. They just thought it was like an invisible drummer. And then I'd stand up and do this, skinny little guy. And they'd go, oh my God, that's like a kid back there. And that was kind of what started it all. And then I started singing as a drummer in a band. And then I just kept singing till finally, I think I was about, I'm going to say 17. The guys went, you're a great singer, but what's happening is there's Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all these bands are coming out, and they got a front man he's running around getting the audience whipped into, he says, we'd really like you to, and I said, I'm not doing that. There's just no way I'm getting, so I would not do it. And then I read about a lot of guys that used to do this. Steve Tyler used to do
Yep. I was going to say.
Yeah, apparently Mick Jagger was a pretty good drummer. And, all these guys that were drummers didn't really want to go up front. I didn't want to go up front and lose the drum. And then once I did, it took me a while, but then I kind of got into it. And then you get a little more freedom and to do stuff and work the audience a bit and talk to the crowd. And then really it was a good move for me. So that was when I was 17.
Wow,
18.
man.
I started a band. I was lead singer in a band in Calgary, Alberta for about 5 years. And we were like we were like a hot band. We had mannequins and mylar backdrops, and all our equipment was orange, and we had boas. We were like crazy people. And we'd have flash pots in the mannequins' heads, and they'd blow up at the end of the night stuff.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
And
So what was the name of some of your? Because Loverboy wasn't your first band. So what were
my first band was called the Bash Boys.
Bash Boys, okay.
And I'm really young. I'm like 13. Yeah. And we did the Bash Boys because the drum head broke, and it was a real live skin. And so I didn't know where to find another one. So I took the front off and put it on the back, and then I put the back and put it on the front. And it had a hole in it, and then it started doing this, and it just got dried up and did this. So I put a red paint around it, and I called ourselves the Bash Boys because it looked like somebody bashed a hole in the drums.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
And then I went on to another band was called Morning Glory. Okay. And then I had a band that was really quite good called Synergy. Before that, other Synergy. And then I moved to Calgary and started a band called Spunk.
Nice.
There's some right there. That's a good attitude name.
Yep.
What's the name of your band, man? Spunk. Gross. And that was the one with the flash pots and the mannequins and everything. And then after that, I joined a group called Moxie, and they were in Toronto, and they were a pretty big deal. It was my first foray into writing. They kind of asked me to come out there and join the band, and the singer had, I think he'd been killed in a motorcycle accident or something. So they wanted me to come in, and I was freaking out because it was a big deal for me. So I did it. It was a big move. I had to quit the band I was with, which I hated because I love this band. But I figured if I get a chance to do a record, I got to do it.
Right.
Anyways, I didn't know they wanted me to write all the freaking songs, but so that was, that was an experience. So I did, and I learned from that.
Did you? I'm sorry to interrupt. When you say write the songs, you mean music or lyrics or melody?
I worked with whoever wanted to work in the band. It'd be like me and the guitar player. We'd write a song, and I'd write all the lyrics, and we'd work on the music together, and then we'd record it. We ended up recording in this wonderful studio with the producer and the engineer that produced Bob Seger and the Guess Who and all these Al Cooper, and it was one of these big experiences for me. So it was experience. And then I decided I wasn't ever going to be in another band again until I met Paul Dean. And the first night we were together, we wrote 2 songs together. Just I met him late in the evening. I was just leaving a concert. I was a Johnny Rivers concert, and on the way out, I heard this noise in this. It looked like a Greyhound repair shop, all covered glass, and it was all covered with either paint or paper. And there's this little half door, and I kind of opened it. And Paul Dean's sitting in the middle of this empty room, banging his foot away, and he looks over. He goes, "Go on in, man." And you know what? That was in 1978. And I just got off the phone with him half an hour ago. We're talking about designs for the new T-shirts for the new tour.
Wow.
And we've been together since 1978, him and I.
That's amazing.
And you guys are involved in the designs for your shirts still.
That's what we decided in the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
That's, you know what? I love that. I love that you're not just leaving it to people like, you know, a 19-year-old kid who just got a job at a graphic design company. You're
but
like,
also, what a random meeting.
yeah.
I mean, how on earth did that's such a random way to meet?
Oh, snap.
Look at those.
Oh, those are dope.
Yeah, I like that.
Ooh,
I'll get the second one.
I'm going. Can I get those online or just on tour?
Probably both, but we'll be out on tour. You got to come, and we'll get you some tickets. And
I would.
There's one at the bottom I kind of like. It's kind of neat.
That's the one I was pointing at.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one I'd get right there.
That's cool.
It's kind of like the old STP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you remember Sun Studios?
Oh yeah.
Kind of right here.
Oh, perfect.
Those are really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just finished designing these, and this is kind of a classic, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are all vintage. Those are all a really good vintage look.
And who came up with the name Loverboy? Did you?
Paul and I were. That's kind of a cool story. We're in Calgary. We kind of said, you know, if we start a band, we can't call it Reno and Dean because that would be kind of stupid. And I said, "You really want to start a band?" He goes, "Well, these songs are good, man." And Paul and I are talking back, and our girlfriends are going through Vogue magazines and you know those magazines of the fashions for the girls.
Yeah.
Cosmopolitan and whatnot. And we're watching a movie and having some popcorn, a night off kind of vibe. And I said to Paul, "Why don't we think about calling ourselves Cover Boy? It's be like a play on Cover Girl." And I did it because the girls were all thumbing through the Cosmopolitans and Vanity Fair and all this, you know. And I said, so what we do is we could put on some nicer clothes instead of the Doobie Brothers are all wearing jeans and T-shirts. Maybe we'll, you know, spend a little time, put on some nice things, maybe get some colors happening, red and yellow and stuff like that. And so that was cool. And that was at the end of that night. The next morning, I get a call from Paul. He said he had a dream. He said, in the dream, we called ourselves Loverboy. And I went, "I bet we got the shit kicked out of us in that dream, huh?" And he goes, "I don't know, man." And I just thought that would be so. I thought we were going to run into some problems, but we never did. Even when we were on tour with CZ Top, you know, we never ran into any problems.
You know,
because it's a pretty ballsy name. I mean, come on.
It is.
They try to look that name now at our age.
You know, it's funny because when I say the name Loverboy and I think of it as a band name, it's just normal. It's Loverboy. It's the band Loverboy,
Yeah.
and the band made the name cool.
Yes.
But I guess if that was never a band and I went and I heard, "Hey, dude, I really want to call my band Loverboy," I'd be like, "I don't know, man." But it's cool because the band makes it
The
cool.
band made it cool. Yeah.
I
You know,
see
it's
what-
like-
And the music made it cool. Yeah.
It's kind of like the name of the Doors. If there was never a Doors, right? And I went, how about this? I want to call my band The Shelves. And you'd be like, "What the hell are you even talking about?"
Yeah.
But if the band makes it cool, it becomes The Shelves.
That's
and they're
right.
awesome.
And then it becomes legendary.
That is true because I just read something about how the Doors came up with the name, and it was like something stupid like that. They went, "We could call ourselves The Wall," you know, or the Doors, and the guy went, "Doors is kind of cool because it opens the door into another spectrum," you know, kind of thing. And that's kind of how they went with that one.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, bands can make names really cool. Like they can make odd names very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Very
That's
much so.
amazing. So,
Are you going to come down this way? Are you coming down to LA on your
Yeah,
tour?
we're playing the Forum. We're playing the Forum, man.
Oh, when?
I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
We'll look it up. Yeah, Loverboy. It's on social medias. You can go to Loverboy, obviously, loverboyband.com. for tour dates. So we got to look that up.
Loverboyband.com.
Loverboyband.com.
August 19th.
August 19th, they're going to be at the Forum.
Yep.
Oh, I think I'm going to be in town.
Ooh, I'm going to be in town. If we're in town, Mike, we're going to come harass you.
Yeah, we're going to come rock and roll.
Let us know if you need some tickets. We'll sneak you in the back door.
Oh, that's the best.
This day you can't beat this day.
This is awesome.
That's
This is
so
an
cool.
amazing day.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Mike. It's an honor to speak with you.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your stories. It means a lot, and you've always been like a rock legend to me. You still are, but it's so nice to finally get to talk to you face to face. It's an honor.
You guys are great. I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun today with you guys. Thanks, man.
Thanks,
you.
Mike. You take
Appreciate
care.
it, Mike.
Good luck on tour.
Spaceship